start the video. Hi, this is the June 7th Jupyter Dev meeting. Nick, did you want to jump in, kick off the meeting?
Oh, sure. Okay. So I got with us today Dr. Lanchel. He's the basically the guy that moves the mountains around getting the Anaconda distribution out, which is, last I checked, still the preferred and most supportable way to install all the Jupyter components that are out there. So the issue that we're dealing with today is that it's going to be hard to include things like IPyWidgets, widgets.md extension, if we continue to rely on post-link scripts. And there's really, unless we want to continue to support people forever saying it's like, oh yeah, you have widgets installed, but now you have to install widgets, and they have to look at the command line and things like that. It's just going to make it really hard to move forward and grow the ecosystem. So the thing I've been harping on for the last couple of months is we need some way that is the const.d style configuration loading, where each extension can put optionally can put a file in a place, and that place will load that extension either either by being a full configuration file that gets merged onto the rest of the configuration files, or something much simpler, which would just be a list of the requires that are available or something like that. But like, now that we have gone to this split route, it's going to be really hard to make that repeatably, reliably installable for hundreds of thousands of users without them having to actually like fiddle with stuff every time. So more of a discussion there.
I thought that we agreed that for the 4.1 you would have a package that has a file corresponding to the default enabled extensions for now, before we include the const.d.
We have that as an escape route, but it is very hacky, right? Like, I mean, that was my last understanding.
It's really horrible, and why not go ahead now and do the clean directory solution? These overlapping files that different packages need to write to, they're just very problematic, and not only for Conda, but also for RPM packages in general. It creates many problems that can very easily be avoided.
Yeah, I agree, but
I agree, it's the right thing to do, but I would kind of need to, in order to be ready for integration in a week, it would basically need to have been already done, implemented, and tested. Like, that would all have to have been done by today,
right,
in order for that to be shipping a week from now. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
we can get to work on it, but I think everybody agrees that it's something we should do. But I don't think there's any chance of it being.
Okay, so I mean, the other option is we ship something that patches something with Anaconda, because we're already going to ship that file. We are going to ship Etsy. We're going to ship sysprefix Etsy Jupyter.
Yeah, I mean that's what was agreed upon the last time this was talked about a couple months ago, was that was what was going to be in kind of the next round.
So what with that, because that was my understanding as well. That was the last discussion that we had, 2 months ago or whatever. Why has this become a higher priority? And that's not always.
I took a stab at implementing the const.d, a const.d thing that would essentially rely on the default value generator in Threadlets, so that we don't have to do any new Threadlets feature in the Threadlets library. That would be only a notebook package change. So that the idea would be that there would be a trait attribute that is a list of dict, which is initialized with a default constructor at the add default observer and reading in the directory. So would not be observing the file system, that would be only read at construction of the object. So, which I think is not what you guys discussed originally in terms of const.d mechanism in threadlets, right?
That was just the way that I saw that it could be most broadly applied across the different projects, right? So we get.
Yeah, I don't think this is an issue, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't think this is an issue that really comes up outside of the extension mechanism that is also specific to the notebook package. So I'm sympathetic to both it's a generic principle, so we should apply it at the most generic level, but it might also be the simplest solution to implement it in a notebook specific way that kind of only applies to the server extensions and NB extensions.
To me, it's just a trait type that has a path attribute, which is the directory that is going to be read. And yeah, and then it's going to read that with a glob and populate the list of declared or registered extensions. So the only problem, so as I try to do this, is that we will have to support both the old and the new mechanism, which is where most of the complexity lies. And I was thinking that the easiest thing to do would be to do the things right for Jupyter Lab right away, and not touch the NV extension for the legacy notebook. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, that's certainly another idea.
Hey, is this something, it sounds like we're making good progress on the conversation. Is this something that we can take offline, or do you want to continue
Yeah,
here?
we can have some dedicated conversations on this during the week.
Okay. And who will lead those? All right, thanks, Logan. And Nick.
And yeah, Nick can bring that continuum side.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything for 4.1 just because of the time situation, but we can talk about what's available in terms of near future.
So the question is, the release after that, 4. What is going to be 4.2?
4.2.
Okay. So
Going to be in September probably.
So will we have some Jupyter Lab something in September? Is that?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Yes, that is a reasonable question to ask.
I don't think we'll be at Jupyter Lab 1.0 in September, but I think we'll be in beta maybe. I am curious are you guys planning on updating the 4.2.1 notebook in Conda?
Yeah.
It's released? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been released for a while. Yeah.
Well, almost a week.
Well, yeah, like I said.
It's in Conda Forge, so yeah.
Forge,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. We'll have an offline on that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Should we go in order not to forget anyone? So Jamie, do you want to say everything you have to?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a lot of it's on the hackpad. Just kind of, my efforts here at Berkeley over, my first months here have just been very much behind the scenes, just trying to connect the dots and do some, work on the hiring and some of the more not as visible pieces. So we're working to, help the Berkeley folks here deploy Jupyter Hub and improve their experience for the next semester. So Fernando is in the faculty training this week, which is why he can't make it. So he's getting a lot of information from faculty this week on, how that experience can be better for faculty members and for students. So hopefully next week he'll be able to come back and report on that. As I said in the hackpad, I'm putting together a team to work on some notebook bugs. So we hope to, have a good triage session to pull out the critical bugs that need to be released in the next iteration of the notebook. And my mind always goes blank when I'm reporting.
Oh, you have the Bay Area Jupyter Hub.
Yeah, we're also putting together a Bay Area Jupyter Hub conference. So it's going to be a virtual conference just to bring folks together in the Bay Area who are using Jupyter Hub and learn from their experience and how we can make it smoother for them. So that would include the Berkeley group and probably some folks from Stanford and then some other folks who've reached out to us. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, so SciPy is coming up in July, and I just wanted to float by the team. Is there any interest in having like a team get together or some way for, some opportunity to bring everybody together at the beginning of the conference? I know it's a busy conference with a lot of evening events, but would folks enjoy seeing each other one night of the conference, all in one room?
Yeah, it's usually a good experience.
Okay.
You'll see when you have a lot of users, and it's a crowd we know. It's our home conference. So.
Yeah, right, exactly. So okay, well, it sounds like I'm seeing mostly positive responses.
Do you mean a social thing, or like one of the birds of feather sessions or something, or what?
Yeah, so two ideas have been floated. One is just kind of a dinner for the Jupyter or Jupyter core team at the beginning of the conference, and then also a birds of a feather.
I think it will be quite hard because we are not coming for the same date. Like I know that Min and Jess are only here for 3 days, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it might be tough. If we're not too tired, we will hack until 3 a.m. in the lobby of the AT&T Center like usual.
Yeah. So I wanted to catch everybody before you were super tired and tired of talking to people, which would be earlier in the week. So if you're interested, send me an email and let me know your arrival date. And then I can, start looking at restaurants near the hotel. I have some great contacts in Austin, so they can help me find a place that would accommodate us all.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right. Keep moving on that then. All right. So why don't we go to Carol? Hi, Carol.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Can you hear me?
Congratulations for your re-election.
Thank you. I think it's congratulations, but we'll see.
You want to share that with Does everyone know?
Yeah, it's on the
It's on the HackPad. So PyCon was great. I think next year it would be fabulous if we could have some sort of Jupyter sprint. I sprinted with the cookie cutter and the bouquet folks, and all through the conference. I don't know that I have anything in writing, Matthias, but there was lots and lots of positive feedback about people using the notebook every day, how much they love it. The folks that took the Rackspace Karina thing with Jupyter Hub actually liked Jupyter Hub as well. And there were quite a few tutorials that were science oriented that got a lot of very positive feedback as well. And NumFocus had a booth, and so it was a good thing. People are still calling it IPython notebooks, but it was about half and half Jupyter and half IPython. So there were a lot of people catching themselves mid-sentence or whatever, but the word shift is kind of getting out there, so that's a good thing. And then the only other real big thing is I spent some time triaging the Jupyter Hub issues and significantly reduce the amount of open issues there. So that was cool. And that's it.
Thank you. Cool. All right.
Min is next. Min, what's your plan for this week? The thing you need to achieve.
Yeah. Released a couple things. I did a couple PRs for doing release notes for a couple packages that are pretty much ready to go. that Carol's helping review and polish. IPython parallel and Jupyter client specifically are kind of ready to go. And then the main things I'll be working on, other than putting those out, are helping with the triage of the kind of accumulated notebook issues, and then keep plugging along on the services APIs in Jupyter Hub, which is much of what I've been doing the last week or so. And then my travel calendar for June is a little bit insane, so I think I will be in some country or other for the rest, different country for every dev meet, or every one of these meetings for the rest of the month. So I don't know how many I'll be joining for. But
so how many of you are traveling?
As far as I know, just one. But we'll see.
Great.
Yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay. Jason is next.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention thanks especially to a big, huge push by Steve and Darian and Chris. We reviewed and merged and sort of wrapped up a very pre-alpha version of Jupyter Lab, and we merged a bunch of repos. And the end result is, thanks again to one of Sylvan's ideas, a server extension that makes it very easy to install the current version of Jupyter Lab and try it out. So I put instructions in the hackpad, basically pip install Jupyter Lab, and then you have to enable the server extension. So Jupyter server extension enable Jupyter Lab. And then you can start up the notebook server. It adds a URL that right now is not visible from Notebook 4.2, but you can just change your URL in your browser to /lab, and you'll have Jupyter Lab. In Jupyter Lab, or in the Notebook master right now, there's, I think, still the try Jupyter Lab link that will lead you to the /lab URL. So this will significantly make our development a lot easier. It means that you can clone the Jupyter Lab repo and pip install -e and be able to develop and see your changes fairly interactively, and we're moving forward.
Awesome.
So if anybody wants to install it, some people have already been opening up some issues. I know Fernando opened up a few issues, etc. The Jupyter/Jupyter Lab repo on GitHub is a good place to give some feedback. Again, it's very pre-alpha. Lots of things are still broken or are not implemented, etc. But I think it's a good time to try it out and see what's going on, and give us feedback, or even better, download the repo, pip install -e it, and give us some PRs.
Thanks, Jason.
Nick, you're next. Do you have something else to add beyond what you? Okay, no, you're making a no in the smaller small thumbnail. So my turn. I released IPython 5 beta 1 out. I will try to do a beta 2 this week because we had a few bugs and a lot of feedback from people who are really excited about this version and seems to really like it. One thing is that we will need to do a Jupyter console release before IPython 5.0, or we are using some 4.0 only API. So I would appreciate if people can try that and try to push that forward, because otherwise it will delay the IPython 5 release by a couple of weeks, and I want to release 5.0 before SciPy so that we can get all our feedback for SciPy during SciPy, where we can tell to people, hey, we have the new version, please try it, and then come to sprint, make requests on like 6.x that we can fork, and it will be nice because people can basically get crazy with new API on master branch, because it will be a next cycle. So I would.
Whose help do you need on that?
People who are using Jupyter Console in particular, or people who I would help to triage and see, like, write the change log and get ready to push a Jupyter Console 5.0 beta by hopefully in 2 days, 3 days if possible. There is not that much change, so it shouldn't be that hard. Less hard than actually IPython. and also documentation. We don't have documentation on how to release Jupyter Console. So yeah, but that's less critical. We can do the documentation during the beta phase. I will also try to work on notebook bug triaging and trying to mark a few issues as critical for 4x. We already had a few fixes, which is nice. So it would be great to get a 4.2.2 soon, I think Min wants to do. And I will have a few things in Berkeley here, so I might be less available online during some of the next few days. So that's why I'm asking for some review. I know I also had a lot of help from Min and Thomas, and I'm stretching their work schedule really late when I ask for PRs to be reviewed. I think that Thomas is even sometimes reviewing PRs after midnight. So thank you.
Which is why he's not here right now. No, he's at a conference.
Yeah. Related to 422, the main reason for 422 was I misunderstood something someone said when I was coding 421, that the highlighting stuff I thought that was a problem in 4.x, but it isn't. So I don't feel any great need for 422, at least with the issues I'm aware of right now.
Okay, do the extension still works, like the custom.js changing the auto-close bracket things?
Yeah, so those are things that are affected by the Webpack stuff, and the Webpack stuff is not in 4.x.
Okay, that's strange because I
both of the issues
I know people in Berkeley that are using 4x and had to downgrade because they had some major usability issues.
Because both of those issues, the auto-close brackets one and the highlighting one, say it works fine in 4.2.0, but when I upgrade to master, it stops working.
Okay.
I had also had in my head as I saw 4.2 on this, that means it stopped working in 4.2, but I had put that in my head backwards. Which means it's important for the the next major release, but it's not the kind of burning need that I thought it was.
One less thing to do.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's still the Webpack thing is still a complicated thing that I don't fully have a handle on. If it's even possible to get runtime require JS to play nicely with having used Webpack. I don't know. That's something we need to investigate.
Noted.
Steve, I'm sure, has some choice words about that.
Some choice curse words.
You can use those after I stop the recording. Okay. Steve, do you want to go next?
Sure. I don't have much to add beyond a lot of it is now visible in what Jason highlighted there in Jupyter Lab. Adding features to Jupyter Lab, the console is the major visible one, and trying to round out the different actions you can do to a notebook and the cells. So again, just asking folks to please take a look at it. Thanks, Matthias. I saw open a bunch of issues there. All feedback is welcome. Right now, I'm working with Chris and Darian. We're rounding out the changes to phosphor, the consolidation. Darian and I are writing tests, and Chris is working on the last piece, which is the doc panel. And we should be ready to have at least a 0.9 release fairly soon.
Great. At some point, I'd like to meet with folks to get a rough release schedule down. Not quite ready to dig into that yet, but maybe next week we can start looking at how to track release timing, so we can put it up on our website and mailing list and everything in a kind of a more consolidated way. Great. Darian, did you want to add anything?
No, I don't really have anything to add beyond what Steve and Jason said, but I'm glad it's all in one repo. Looks good.
Cool.
That's it for me.
Awesome. I see Gino's on the line, but muted and no video, so maybe just a silent participant. Feel free to speak up, Gino, if you have anything you want to contribute. And Sylvan, you may be our last person of the day.
Okay, I don't have much. We had interesting discussions this morning about Julia backend for the latest version of widgets. So help the Julia widgets developer with issues he was having with the latest version. So yeah, that's about it.
Great. I think we have everybody. Anyone I missed? Nope. Anything else? Anybody else need to add something at the tail end of the meeting? No? All right, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks, everyone.